I'm 12 Tone. You're awesome. In this video, let's go over my Spotify stats for July 2024. I have a side project called Ciao Ciao Marigold. That's like chill beats, psych rock type stuff. You're hearing it right now. In July 2024, Ciao Ciao Marigold got over 750,000 streams on Spotify. So I want to dive more into the stats using Spotify for Artists to show you how it happened, why it happened, at least why I think it happened, to give you some insight on how you can strategize for your music. All right, so here we are in Spotify for Artists. I've set the parameters for July 2024, and as you can see, I got 750,874 streams in that month period. There were 254,000 plus listeners, and so using those two numbers, we can deduce that there was an almost 3 streams per listener rate. Beautiful. There were 12,153 saves, and there were 11,317 playlist ads. Let's back up for a little context. I'm also going to give you a look at, since the year 2024 started through July, what things are looking like. As you can see, the year started very quiet. I didn't always have this kind of traction, but since then, I've gotten over 1 million listeners, almost 4 million streams, and lots of saves and playlist ads. What happened at the beginning of the year was I was chugging along like I normally did. I started Ciao Ciao Marigold in December of 2022. So by January of 2024, it was only about a year old, basically. And I started going viral on TikTok. And in fact, by February 8th, it's easy to remember because it was my birthday. By February 8th, I had multiple viral TikToks going on, and it led very directly to traffic on Spotify. Nothing was really happening on Instagram. I really attribute this to TikTok. I also was I was getting on a very regular release schedule, so that helped a lot to activate the Spotify algorithm on its own. And I believe those two things together are what really juiced Ciao Ciao Marigold to the point where it is now. So the point is I've been doing lots of things since then to continue to grow, but really at the beginning stages, I would say TikTok and just regular releasing on Spotify are how we got here. Now, let's go back to July. As you can see with streams, I've gotten to a somewhat stable point. There are no days in July where I dipped below 20,000 streams in a single day. It looks like the lowest I got was just above 20,000. It happened twice. Once in July, I released a new track. That was on July 19th. It was actually my first collaboration track with the boys over at Burbank Vibe Center. Also on June 28th, so basically right before July started, I released another new track. I try to release a new track every 3 weeks to a month. So what we're seeing is a mixture of traffic coming to these new tracks, which performed very well, and the general flow of traffic that's coming to Ciao Ciao Marigold at this point. Let's go to July 19th and see what happened. So on July 19th itself, it seems to be a little above average for the month. But as you can see, there's not a lot of peaks and valleys. And I think actually this is a place that you should want to strive for. You don't want your numbers to look too much like a roller coaster. You want something a little more stable. I know that can be counterintuitive, like you want your tracks to blow up. You want your tracks to be as big as possible. I have 2 things to say to that. For one thing, of course you do, but at the same time, what goes up must come down. And you don't want people to burn out on your music and not return. So I think a more ideal strategy is to have people want to come consistently to your music. You especially don't want people to stream a lot in a small period and then never come back, or maybe even just stream once and never come back. You want to be a well that people keep coming back to. So for the track I released in July, which is called Going 25 in a 25, the stats are going to look a little funny in July because it came out in the second half. But here we are, July 19th. And by the way, I release it on midnight of whatever time zone the listener is in. So actually a few of the stats started coming in on my July 18th because I live in New York, and in Australia and every time zone ahead of me, midnight came sooner than New York. So got a couple streams just before it came out in my time zone, and then in my time zone, here we are. Got almost 2,000 streams on the first day, and then peaked again on the following Monday. We see that it starts to trail off, and who knows what the future holds. I'm gonna use it in lots of TikTok posts, and hopefully it'll catch on its own. But this is a very normal looking graph for a release of a track, for any track. There's a lot of listening at the beginning of the life, and then it trails off. And then lots of things can happen deeper in the future, but at the beginning, this is kind of what it tends to look like. Let's look at the track that I released just before the start of July. It's called Satsuma. Satsuma came out, as a reminder, June 28th, and on July 1st, it was cruising along. For the month of July, it got 17,971 streams. Excellent. And basically, July 1st was the first Monday that this track was out. And we can see it got 756 streams, and then it had a little uptick, and then it began to trail off. And it looks like it's kind of landing in a 100, 200 streams a day range. And again, my attitude is, I obviously want more for this track. I will continue posting with it, and who knows what the future holds. But what I want to say is, when it comes to looking at this kind of sawtooth graph of streams, I don't ride the roller coaster. What does that mean? When it does amazingly well, I don't go running down the street screaming. And when it doesn't do as well as I want it to do, I don't cry myself to sleep and never get out of bed all day and all that stuff. What I know from doing Ciao Ciao for a year and a half is that, one, a track can blow up at any time, blow up even bigger than how it's previously performed, truly any time, because a track is new for a new listener the first time they hear it, and that can be any day. That can be years from now. So don't worry if the day the track comes out, it doesn't do as well as you want it to do. The track will be new for each new listener, and that's a beautiful thing. I mean, I think you can probably relate as a music listener what it's like to come across music that has come out in the past, but you're coming to it for the first time. It's an exhilarating feeling when you like the music. Okay, so the first thing is, it's new for the person listening. The second thing is, when you start releasing a lot of music, you don't have to put so much pressure on an individual track. When you have enough tracks out and they're all performing at a modest baseline level, then you'll start to see that your numbers are high overall because everyone's doing their part. You don't need to rely on any one member of the team to pull everyone across the finish line. I don't know what metaphor that was, but anyway, the point is, lots of tracks are going to be the key to getting to a number like 750,000 streams a month. Of course, there are going to be acts that release 2 tracks and they can get 750,000 streams a month. But for the rest of us normies, if we want to get anything near that kind of number, that 750 number and beyond, it's going to probably come from lots of tracks performing modestly for us. Coming back to the full 2024 picture, I want to illustrate this in a more long-term view, what I'm talking about of just not riding the roller coaster. So as you can see, there are a lot of jagged points in this streams graph. And, you know, some of my best days in 2024, 28,000, 30,000. At the very end of July, one of my best performing days ever, 30,000. They're preceded and followed by poor days relative to the high number. If I worried each day about the progress, like after this day, March 20th, if I was on a high and then I saw that I lost almost 10,000 streams in a single day and it kept going down after that, if I had just worried and started changing my strategy or just giving up altogether, I would have missed the larger picture that was happening. The larger picture is that from January 1st to July 31st, my average, my baseline is slowly rising. And it's these compounding gains that are the key. So unless something long-term in a very, very big and consistent way is going in the wrong direction, I'm not gonna worry, I'm not gonna change my strategy, I'm not gonna ride the roller coaster. I made a plan, I'm gonna stick to it. That plan, as I mentioned, is TikTok. It's using the Spotify algorithm to my advantage. If you want to hear about any more of those things, feel free to leave a question in the comments. I'm going to review my stats periodically and share my thought process as a resource for you, because this is really what I wish I had when I first started making Ciao Ciao Marigold. There are lots of wonderful deep dives into Spotify for Artists and all the features that it has, but I feel like there aren't a lot of people getting a solid amount of streams explaining what's going on their side of things. So just let me know in the comments what you want to see more of, what you want to hear more about. Let's talk a little bit about followers. At the beginning of the month, around 4,200, and at the end of the month, over 4,700. So it's about a 500 follower gain. That is one of my favorite stats of the month, because followers are way more valuable than we realize for Spotify stats. When someone hits follow on your profile, it means a lot of things. First of all, it means someone went to your profile and hit follow. That's a really valuable listener. We love those people. Then, what Spotify does with people who clicked follow is extremely valuable. Whenever you release a new track, as long as you pitch it in the playlist pitching tab in Spotify for Artists, as long as you pitch it, your followers will very, very likely get your new track put in their release radar. So what this means is that 500 new people made themselves available, made their release radar available to my music. It's like free advertising almost. So when my new track came out on June 28th, I had about 4,200 people guaranteed who were gonna get that track put in front of them. And Spotify does other things, like sometimes it'll leave a little note in the feed that there's new music out from me. And by the end of the month, I had even more people that I could get in front of for free. I like to encourage people to follow me on Spotify. It's a way that they can help me for free. They don't have to buy anything. And I, in turn, have less friction getting my music in front of them. So it's a win-win. I think a lot of people focus on pre-saves and playlist pitching, third-party playlists like Submit Hub or whatever else. And I actually think the secret valuable stat is the follower. I also have a feeling Spotify is going to do more with followers in the future. I'm not sure exactly what I mean by that, but I feel like they're going to start to open up more features to followers, and they're going to increase the connection between artists and their followers. We're already seeing that with the thank you notes at the end of the year for Spotify Wrapped. And I just think Spotify is, for better or for worse, trying to turn more into like a social media platform. So I would keep your eye out on followers. Let's talk about one other thing before wrapping up. Listeners. Let me show you something interesting. I've now set the range for June 2024. In June 2024, I had 260,000 plus listeners. In July, now this is July, I had 254,000 listeners. My listenership is going down a little bit, but my streams are going up. And in a way, This is almost like the best of all worlds. I mean, obviously I don't want my listenership to tank. I don't want it to go down a lot, but having it go down a little actually isn't that bad, as long as the streams stay up. Look, the bottom line is I still get my streams, I still get money and income from that, which is lovely. I still know that people are hearing my art, which is beautiful. And when you have less listeners but more streams, your streams per listener number is going up. And I have a feeling Spotify loves that. They don't want people popping in, listening to your track once and leaving the app, you know? They want people to have long sessions. They want people to have a reason to come back to Spotify. So if your music is the reason why people are going back to Spotify, Spotify is gonna love you. They're gonna boost you. They're gonna be very happy about having more of you in their app. They're gonna throw you in some more algorithmic playlists. Yet another example of not riding the roller coaster, not panicking when a number doesn't go the way you exactly want it. I had more listeners in June, less listeners in July, but actually things are going great.